Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Straight to Blu-ray. I am James, and today is Wednesday, which normally would be a movie collection update, but I haven't really picked up that many movies, just a couple. I've got some more ordered, so I'm going to kind of hold off on that, probably do this next week, assuming they all come in on time, where I'll have about 5 movies to go over instead of just the two. I don't want to do a video for two movies I picked up. So holding off till that on next week. So in this video, we are going to continue my best of the 80s as far as my top 10 movies. We have made it all the way to the end of the 80s, 1989. So today's video is going to be my top 10 movies of 1989. Well, guys, thanks for checking out the channel. If you are new here, please think about hitting that like and subscribe button. I put out a couple videos each week on various movie-related topics, including this series on my top 10. We have made it from 1985 to 1989, so we have cleared the upper 80s. This will be the last 80s or year that we go over, 1989. Like I said, this is my top 10. I'm going to emphasize yet again, this is my personal top 10. It's going to definitely vary between yours, but at least you can watch this and see how my movies rank compared to some of yours that you think should be in your top 10. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into number 10. All right, my number 10 movie of 1989 is one, I actually haven't seen this one in a while, but it's one I watched as a kid, not a bunch of times, but a good number of times. Really enjoyed this one, definitely an interesting concept. I picked this up from the Disney Movie Club, and that is going to be Disney's, obviously, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Like I said, this is just one of those really cool kids movies that I always enjoyed. Just a really, like I said, interesting concept. Rick Moranis is in this one when he was still kind of making movies. I don't really know what happened to Rick Moranis, but always liked him in this one. Just kind of cool concept. You know, all the kids get shrunk and they're kind of making their way around the house trying to, let people know what happened. And of course, they're little tiny people. So, like I said, just a really interesting concept. Definitely love this movie. Good kids movie, but I think if you're an adult, you would enjoy this too, especially if you haven't seen it yet. So yeah, my number 10 movie of 1989 is Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. All right, moving on to number 9. This is actually a movie I don't own anymore. I need to get back. Used to have the 4K edition, but I don't own it anymore. This one probably for a lot of you might be a lot higher on your list. But for me, I really enjoyed this movie, but for whatever reason, I'm not like super excited about it. Let's just say I'm ninth, top 9 as far as 1989. And that is going to be Michael Keaton in Batman. This is really the one that kind of started the whole Batman movie craze. I don't want to say it started the superhero, movie craze, but definitely more. I think this is what really kind of launched the 57 Batmans that have occurred after it. And like I said, really great movie. Obviously you've got Michael Keaton in this one. You've got Jack Nicholson as the Joker. Him and Heath Ledger did a really good job as the Joker. I would say probably Heath Ledger 1, and then 1A really is Jack Nicholson. So yeah, it's just an amazing job in this one. Like I said, really liked the movie. Interesting soundtrack on there. It had Prince. It had the Bat Dance song on there, which I know a lot of people don't love, but I kind of liked it. But yeah, that's, like I said, just one of those ones that's a really good, kind of started the Batman craze back up again. So number 9 on my list of top movies of 1989 is going to be Batman. All right, moving on to number 8. This movie is definitely one of those Christmas classics that I always go back to and watch. Like I said, this one might be higher on a lot of people's list too. I know that for a lot of people, this is their number 1 Christmas movie of all time. Not quite for me, but it's definitely a really cool movie. It is Chevy Chase in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This is the 4K edition. I actually picked this up last year. I never actually did watch it, I don't think, during Christmas time. So I still need to check this one out. But yeah, like I said, one of the staples of a Christmas time movie that you have to watch. This and like an Elf or A Christmas Story. It's a Wonderful Life. It's just those movies you usually, you watch every year. This is one of them around Christmas time. It's weird. I don't really ever watch it any other time. Like, let me know in the comments down below. Do y'all watch like Christmas movies on non-Christmas time? Are you like watching, let me pick up Elf off the shelf and watch it, or A Christmas Story? I never seem to do that. Only really during Christmas time do I ever watch these. But I mean, obviously, funny movie. You got the cast on there: Chevy Chase, back before people really hated Chevy Chase. So yeah, I mean, National Lampoon, just last National Lampoon's Vacation, Christmas Vacation, all of those are good. And an underrated, this is totally off topic, but an underrated National Lampoon movie is National Lampoon Senior Trip. Maybe I'll do that for one of my new series on the Obscure Movie Monday. I'll do National Trip, Senior Trip. Definitely underrated movie. You should check that one out. But yeah, Christmas Vacation is number 9, or I'm sorry, number 8 on my top 10 of 1989. All right, coming in at number 7 is actually one that I could have swore that I owned on Blu-ray, but apparently I do not, so I need to rectify that. It seems to, every time I do one of these, it seems to be that case where I assume I have the movie and I just, for whatever reason, don't have it. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, my number 7 movie of 1989 is going to be Charlie Sheen, and that is going to be Major League. This movie was just hilarious. I remember seeing this when this first came out. It's one of as far as like when they talk about the best sports movies, I don't think I consider it the best sports movie, but I definitely consider it the funniest sports movie. Just an amazing movie. Obviously, the owner of the Cleveland Indians dies, and then the ex or the wife takes over, the widow, and she wants to make the team so bad that she can sell it and then move to Miami. This is obviously pre-Marlins, and wants to take it to Miami, so gets all these kind of ragtag bunch of players. Just great comedy. You've got Charlie Sheen in this one, Corbin Burnson, also. Oh God, I'm forgetting Wesley Snipes. That's Wesley Snipes is in this one. Really great movie. Definitely, like I said, not quite one of my top sports movies. It's up there, but it's definitely the funniest sports movie I've ever seen. Bob Uecker as the announcer in this one. Just really cool movie. If you haven't seen it, you definitely want to check this out. And obviously, I need to go to Amazon and pick this one up. So number 7 on my list of the top 10 movies of 1989 is going to be Major League. All right, checking in at number 6 on the list is actually going to be one of 2 sequels that makes an appearance on this list. This is going to be a movie. I don't want to say I like this better than the original. It's very close, though. As far as sequels go, it's definitely... I don't know if I'd say it's better than like I said, the original, but it's definitely, usually, sequels take a step down. I think this is at least on par with the original, and that is going to be Danny Glover and Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon 2, the one in the corner there. This is like the 4-pack. I'm still waiting for these on 4K. I don't know why, at least the original, we have not got this on 4K. This needs to happen. Powers that be who make these things. We need to get Lethal Weapon on 4K. But yeah, Lethal Weapon 2, really... like I said, I don't know if I can say maybe it might be better than the original, but like I said, it's at least adjacent to the original. Really cool. The bad guys in this one. This is also part 2, is where they introduced Joe Pesci's character. That just kind of takes it up another notch as far as the comedic elements of the movie. I mean, this just kind of, especially part 2, it really has that just like perfect blend of action and then comedy, kind of like, Schwarzenegger did a lot of that stuff. You got that action comedy kind of, hybrid stuff. The part 2 is really the perfect amounts of both, where you get just enough comedy in there, but just enough action, mainly from Mel Gibson, because Danny Glover, let's be honest, he didn't do too much action in these. Mel Gibson was the main action person. But yeah, Lethal Weapon 2, definitely a great movie. Definitely one I'd love to see on 4K one day. Hopefully we get that. So yeah, that is going to be, what am I on, number 6? Number 6 in my top 10 movies of 1989. All right, we have made it to number 5. This is the 5th, the 5th movie on my list of top 10 movies of 1989. Wow, I'm losing it already. This is another one I used to own on 4K, but unfortunately do not have anymore, which I'll, of course, have to fix that in the future. When I talked about Major League not quite being my favorite sports movie, I think this one is probably, it used to be number 1 until Rudy came out, and then now it's probably number 2, and that is Kevin Costner in Field of Dreams. Just a really great movie, just an awesome heart, warming movie. You got the baseball, obviously, if he builds it, he will come. He builds the baseball field in the corn, which still exists today. You actually can go and visit that. And I think Major League Baseball, I don't know if they're doing it this year, but they used to have those games that were actually took place over there. But just a really great movie. Like I said, before Rudy came out, this was probably my number 1 sports movie of all time. And then obviously the end, if you haven't seen it, I won't give it away, but definitely a touching moment at the end of the movie. Just an all-around great story on this one. James Earl Jones is in it, so you gotta love something with James Earl Jones in it. So him and Kevin Costner. You got Ray Liotta as Shoeless Joe. Really, really, really good story on this one. Really great movie. So yeah, that is my number 5 movie of 1989 is Field of Dreams. All right, now that we have gotten through the upper 5, I should say, we've got the top 4 to go. Speaking with Lethal Weapon, another really good action movie. This one has definitely got a lot of action in it. It's from a person that you may not think, especially before this came out, would have been a big old action star kicking people's butt, but it totally worked. Love this movie. That's going to be Patrick Swayze in Roadhouse. Awesome movie. Love this. This is one of those movies you can just watch a whole bunch of times and it never gets old. Or you could watch The Family Guy with Peter Griffin's Roadhouse all the time. And every time I think or I see Roadhouse or I look at the movie, I just immediately think of Peter Griffin. They've almost ruined it for me a little bit, but just an amazing movie. Like I said, I would have never thought Patrick Swayze is the badass, bouncer of a bar. And you would just even think, like, the whole story concept, oh, it's a bouncer at a bar who's cleaning up the bar. Like, that wouldn't be the most exciting storyline, but it totally is. It works. It's an awesome movie. You got Sam Elliott in this one as well. I don't know the name of the guy who was the head bad guy, but he was just a douche. So he just played that part perfectly. If you hate the person, that they did a really good job. And then one of the bad guys is former wrestler Terry Funk is also in that one, which was always cool. But yeah, just a really good movie. Patrick Swayze, like I said, I don't know, he just seemed depressed the entire movie, but it totally worked. He just never smiled. But obviously, if you haven't seen this one, I don't know what you're doing. It's him. He comes in, cleans up a bar. There's a guy in town who kind of owns the town. Everybody has to do what he says, and of course, Patrick Swayze comes along and handles business, so to speak. So yeah, definitely a really good movie. So this one, Roadhouse, is number 4 on my top movies of 1989. All right, we have made it to the top 3 movies of 1989, in my opinion, that is. This one, this is going to be the other sequel that appears on this list. The original is probably my second favorite movie of all time. This one I really enjoyed. I know because this is a trilogy, a lot of people like the third one better than this one, but I always thought this was really cool. And of course, I'm talking about, I had to grab the steelbook there, Back to the Future 2, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Lloyd, all the characters back in it, except for the original George McFly, Crispin Glover. Everybody returns for Back to the Future 2. I really like this because it's not so much for the future part, although that was interesting to see where they thought we would be in 2015. Not quite, but considering that was now 8 years ago. He went to the 30 years in the future 8 years ago, if that doesn't make you feel old. But just, I loved how they went back to 1955 and you watch the original movie, but you get it from like different perspectives, different points of view. You get to see different things that went on. So it's almost like when you get like one of these movies and it's like, oh, there's some deleted scenes and you get to see some extra stuff that you didn't realize was part of the movie. It's almost like that, except in its own actual movie. So really love Back to the Future 2. Like I said, the first one is definitely, like I said, number 2, just after the Goonies for me as my top movies of all time. Really with these, I kind of just the order of them, 1, then 2, then 3 is how I think, as far as my favorites. But Back to the Future Part 2, definitely an amazing movie. This is the steelbook that comes with the trilogy collection. So yeah, number 3 on my top movies of 1989 is Back to the Future Part 2. All right, coming in at number 2, this is a movie that I saw for the first time in middle school. I was watching it in, what was it? It was 8th grade? Yeah, 8th grade social studies class is when I watched this for the first time. And it's tough not when you're, a young kid and you're in the 8th grade middle school about to go into high school and you see a movie and you're trying not to cry at the end because you don't want to be seen as, the crier in the class. So you're trying to hold back on that one, which is difficult with this movie, especially the end of it. This is one of my favorite war movies. I'm actually going to be doing a live stream which talks about the top 5 war movies. This one, I don't know if this is number 1, but it's going to be close. It's definitely probably one of my top 5s. Definitely going to be one of my top 5. And I just thought this was an amazing movie. This has got Matthew Broderick, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, and I'm talking about Glory. This is obviously the 4K edition. Just picked this one up not too long ago. an amazing war movie about the Civil War and the 54th Massachusetts, which is actually based on a true story. Like I said, good luck not crying at the end of this one, because I did at every time. You know it's going to happen. Totally do every time. An amazing movie. Just the performances. I think Denzel Washington won Best Supporting Actor, or Best, I don't know, Supporting Actor or Lead Actor for this movie, which was well deserved. An amazing movie from everybody involved in this one. Love this movie. If you haven't seen it, you totally need to check it out. But yeah, so Glory is going to be my #2 movie of 1989. All right, guys, we have made it to #1, my top movie of 1989. If you haven't already, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the list. Let me know what some of your top movies of 1989 are. If you totally agree with my list, you totally don't agree with it, just leave me something in the comments down below. Let me know what you think about some of these movies of 1989. All right, so my #1 movie is actually, I was incorrect. There are 3 sequels on the list, and this #1 is not the second sequel, but the 3rd sequel to a film franchise. And it's funny because there's 4 of them total. The first 3, really any of the 3 at any given point in time could be my favorite of the 3. It just kind of depends on my mood. This one I thought was really awesome with the addition of Sean Connery in it. And of course, we've got Harrison Ford and Sean Connery in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. You know, like I said, adding Sean Connery in as Indiana Jones' father, I mean, it worked perfectly in this one. Because obviously the first 2, you got Raiders and then you got Temple of Doom. The main portion is Indiana Jones and then the love interest. That's, you know, that's kind of the back and forth for both of those movies. This one, there is a love interest, which is shocking. They both kind of were with that woman. But that's not the main focus of it. Like, that's just kind of a secondary thing. It's almost like in replacement of the love interest, you get the family dynamic between Indiana Jones and his dad, who's played by Sean Connery. Really great movie. Like I said, this was kind of the last. I didn't really care for Crystal Skull that much. So this is, like I said, this is just an amazing movie. Like I was saying before, really any of the 3 Raiders, this one or Temple of Doom, depending on my mood, could be my favorite of all of the Indiana Jones. But this is definitely up there. Really, really great movie. So yeah, Indiana Jones in the Last Crusade is my top movie of 1989. All right, guys, that is going to do it for another video. Like I said, leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought about my list. This, like I said before, this is my own private personal list, so my choices will probably differ from yours, and that's cool. So let me know what some of your favorites were. Maybe they didn't make my list at all. Maybe just some arrangements. What's your top movie of 1989? Let me know all that in the comments down below. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see y'all in the next video.